Enough time has passed. It is finally time for me to share my work day from hell, spending 6 hours on a golf course. Using as little identifying details as possible because I'm not trying to get fired. Jumping straight into it, basically I work in fundraising. That's generous. I'm the administrative assistant for fundraisers. And every year we have this huge golf fundraiser. We get a bunch of like the top people in the state to come play golf for our organization. It takes tons of planning, tons of effort. Everyone is all hands on deck at all times, but we raise quite a lot of money, so it definitely works out. They've been running this event for the past few decades or so it's pretty easy to just take my position and slide it into the cog of the machine and make the whole thing go. My problem with the event definitely had nothing to do with them. I just kept making the most ridiculous choices and ending up in silly situations. Fully my fault. Except the 6 hours on the golf course thing, that really was my job. I had to sit in one spot and wait and see if anyone got a hole in one. So that was their fault. That was my job. So I can blame them for that, but that's just what I had to do. And so here is everything that went wrong on that fateful day. I knew I wanted to be cute and comfortable because I was going to be surrounded by semi-important people all day, so I wore this dress. I thought it would be cute. I knew I'd be outside, so I wouldn't have like that bad of a tan line. I thought it would be great. Get up at 5 a.m. that morning because where I had to drive to was an hour from where I lived, and I had to get there early because I was told I have to set up signs. So I was on the road, ready to go. I packed water, I packed snacks, I packed sunscreen. I had one branded hat that I could wear if I needed it. I was ready for anything. I was pretty anxious about driving down there. I'd never been there before. I didn't know what I was looking for. I barely knew the place I was going, but I was prepared on one level. I knew what I had to do when I get there and where to park because they were very explicit about the fact that when we got there, we'd be parking somewhere else. So we had to drive up to the location and ask someone who was already working there, like a caddy or something, where we had to park. So I knew all I had to do was drive there and then ask someone for help. Well, problem. I got there. I actually missed the turn the first time around, so I had to do a whole Ginny Knots all the way around and drive all the way around and then get back to the entrance again. That's on me not being able to follow the directions. So I make it. I start driving down this gravel, long driveway. Then I'm picking up a weird vibe.
Hi, I'm here for the golf tournament. Where am I supposed to park?
The parking lot?
Oh, yeah, obviously, of course. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll just turn around here and I'll get this. Thank you.
So then I proceed to do the worst 3-point turnaround surrounded by a ring of golf carts and the caddies who are definitely laughing at me at this point because I missed the gigantic parking lot on the drive down. I don't blame them, but literally where else was I supposed to park? There were no other options. I have no idea what they were talking about when they said we'd be parking somewhere else. Clearly there was only one place to park and I missed it and they were laughing at me. Finally got into the building, started working, put up one sign, and then proceeded to make myself busy for the next, count it, 2.5 hours before the tournament actually started. I have no idea why I was there that early. They told me, and I did it, but I have no idea why I was there. So here's the thing. They told me I'd be on the golf course all day, watching if anyone got a hole in one. Great. One of my family friends does golf tournaments all the time with similar playing ideas. Like if you get a hole in one, you get something special, cool. So someone has to be out there watching. Makes sense. When that friend goes to their tournaments, the people who are sitting there normally have like chairs and an umbrella that the tournament leaders set up for them, and they just like sit there and they watch. So I was maybe expecting that. I wasn't expecting an umbrella. I was expecting maybe a chair. I didn't have a chair. So the people who have been to the tournament before knew to bring a chair. For some reason, my fault, I didn't realize I needed a chair. When I walked up to the hole, I didn't have anything to sit on. And I wasn't gonna stand there for 6 hours. So that's when I remember I still have a picnic blanket that I just leave in my car at all times. So I had 7 minutes, I remember this number. I don't know why I remember this number, but I had 7 minutes to sprint from where I was back to my car before the shotguns start. And so I take off running. But as I am sprinting through the field to get to the car, I end up running through an active construction zone. And then I kind of turn and like look at my surroundings a little bit and realize I'm not supposed to be here. I'm certainly not supposed to be running through it. And then I see the sign that says, construction zone, please do not enter. And I'm like, well, too late now. So I just keep running. Now I have to say, it wasn't like big equipment and dangerous machinery. They were really just like setting up simple structures, and they were mostly all set up. So it wasn't like I was in active danger at any point, but the construction workers who happened to be standing there on the ledge were a little like, what is this woman doing? So like I said, I had to sit and watch for holes in one. So that means I had to stay by the green. These golfers who were showing up to the tournament are not professionals by any means. They're just guys. While you can't always predict where a golf ball is going to land, you can more or less predict if they're professionals and they can say, okay, I'm gonna hit it, and unless something goes wrong, it's probably gonna go over there. With amateurs, you can't really predict that. So when a bunch of amateur golfers are just kind of hitting at the pin, there's not really a safe space for you to sit. So the pin was here and they started hitting here, and this is a terrible diagram, but walk with me. Pin, hitting here. So we sat straight behind the pin because we figured they weren't gonna hit it straight. If anything, it was gonna go left or right, which we were right about, by the way. So at no point could I just zone out after their first hit didn't get a hole in one. I had to constantly be on high alert because I never knew when the balls were going to come. And for the most part, it was fine, except for there were a couple of times that had us scrambling, but we did not get hit. So I call that a win. But seriously, what were we supposed to do? What was I meant to do? Where was I meant to sit? Where was the safe spot? So really, I was out on that course for hours. And being outside all day just kind of does something. So here's the thing. This is also entirely my fault. A few days before, I had gotten a haircut. I love my hairdresser, love what she does. It was fantastic. But this time around, a few of the front end pieces were just a little bit shorter and they weren't staying back in the ponytail that I was doing. So with the wind and everything, they just kept getting in my face and it was really, really annoying. And I didn't have any bobby pins to try to pin the pieces back. So what I did was I took the hat that I brought and just put it on backwards just so I didn't have to deal with the pieces flying all over. Okay, this deserves visualization. So I had the ponytail and then I took the hat and just did that just so I could keep the hair back. Now, is this the most professional look in the world? Absolutely not. Was it necessary given the circumstances? Absolutely. Might I just say, my bosses did see me like that. Did not care. Or if they did care, they didn't say anything. And so finally, the tournament is over. We pack up all of our things and start heading back to the main building. So I'm burnt, I'm sweaty, I'm tired. I've got my work bag over my shoulder. I'm carrying my blanket. And at this point, the wind has picked up a lot. So I'm holding on to my dress because I can feel the dress starting to pick up and start traipsing, basically trudging towards the building. I'm in this big crowd of people coming inside. And just as I'm about to race to the bathroom, I hear,
Ma'am, I need you to turn your hat around.
So I basically dropped everything and just kind of took my hat off, let the hair fall all over, stuffed it in my bag, and moved on. It's one thing if this was a public event, it was black ties, and I'm walking around mingling with the hat backwards on my head. This was a private event. We all just finished golfing. People are in the middle of doing their transition from their golf clothing to their nicer clothing because there was a gala afterwards. Can you give me a minute? You couldn't have just let me be for 2 minutes just to see where I would have gone? I'm barely in the building and you're yelling at me over a hat? My hat was the biggest insult to your building! Honestly, I don't even know if I'm angry, if I was just so embarrassed because, I mean, there were so many people and the guy was like screaming over the people and I didn't hear him at first. He really had to get my attention. Like, oh, I'm like a little like hooligan or something. Oh my gosh. It was a nightmare, but it's over. Until next year. So what did I learn? Not much, honestly. Bring bobby pins. I could bring a chair, but the picnic blanket worked out pretty well. And most importantly, just don't wear your hat backwards. Just don't do it. Anyway, I want to hear your terror work stories. Was it your fault? Was it someone else's fault? How were you injured in the process? What's next after this? I want to hear all about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My last video will be in one of these corners. I will talk to you all next time. Bye.